Good morning from the Piazza San Marco, where you can hear the bells tolling away 9 a.m. You can see the core of the old Venetian Republic. We've got us a new conductor. So this is the interior of Cafe Florian. This was a regular haunt of the upper classes during the 1700s. We've got some wonderful portraits: Morosini, Titian, Marco Polo, Enrico Danda. This cafe is where Napoleon actually stopped when he was in Venice, and he really apparently enjoyed the coffee here. It was also frequented by Casanova because it was one of the few that allowed women. See, it looks like women are allowed here.
And you can now get Casanova's breakfast,
which is a ton of food. So what'd you think?
Delicious, expensive. It's really beautiful, but definitely somewhere you go once and for the experience and then never again. Yeah, no, the hot chocolate was actually really good. The cappuccinos, they know how to make a cappuccino in Italy. They actually foam it right. I'm really pleased with this. My parents, who are sticklers for that, will absolutely love it. But yeah, so it was definitely an experience I would have, but you want to get here early because there is already lines everywhere, and yeah, it's gonna be a problem. So we're gonna head over now to St. Mark's Basilica and check that out. We're waiting in line for St. Mark's right now. Yeah, once again, get here early. So this basilica was consecrated in 1094 and supposedly holds the relics of St. Mark the Evangelist, which were brought here in the 800s after being essentially stolen from Alexandria. And here's the Pala d'Oro, one of the last surviving remnants of late Gothic goldsmithing. That's all gold and precious stones. Here's the high altar, separated from the rest of the church by the altar screen with the statues of the 12 apostles. Really is incredible. All the gold mosaic on the ceiling, all the detail, all put together 1,000 years ago. As Gemma's been pointing out, even the floor has incredible detail. Look at all of that stonework. We're right by the door, and just in the shape of the entire thing, you can really see the Byzantine influence. Venice, at its beginning, was part of the Byzantine Empire, and identified much more strongly with that than with Rome in terms of its religiosity. Also, for those interested, the high altar, which we saw earlier, right through that screen, beneath it are supposedly the relics, the mortal remains of St. Mark the Evangelist. Also, as Gemma pointed out, it's worth noting that all of the ceiling decoration is mosaic. It might look like painting, but it's really hundreds of thousands, millions of tiny little tiles that glimmer like gold. There's some of the gold tiles up close. Look how small they are. And here they are, the famous St. Mark's horses. These were brought to Venice from Constantinople after it was sacked by the Venetians, and they date from actual Roman times. It's thought that these come from anywhere from the early Roman Republican period all the way up to the imperial period. Look at the detail. No wonder the Renaissance masters were always looking to imitate these types of sculptures. Here's a model of the church, showing where the four horses would have been originally. Now they have replicas out here to prevent them from getting damaged by the elements. There's the bell tower, El Campanile, and St. Mark's Square. So we're waiting at Osteria al Portego for it to open, because we're Americans and we're a little early to everything. So this is a good time to go over why one might actually be interested in the character of Casanova. So Casanova is well known as a womanizer, and he's one of the most famous sons of Venice. But honestly, he was a lot more than that. He was a writer, a philosopher, a bit of a pirate, and a magician, a liar, all sorts of wonderful things. And one of the most important parts of the Casanova story is that he wrote his biography and close to his death. And if you can get over the fact that it's about the length of the Bible, it's one of the most entertaining books I've ever read. And it also gives a really good glimpse into what life was like, not just in Venice, but in Europe during the 18th century. So if one is going to Venice, one should get familiar with his story, because it is a hell of a story. It's a ton of fun, and it really helps you to understand why things here are the way that they are. And now we're back at St. Mark's Square, where it is a lot more crowded. This time, we're gonna go tour the Doge's Palace, El Palazzo Ducale, where the rulers of Venice lived for almost 1,000 years. Venice was a republic, with an elected, essentially, monarch called the Doge, who would live here, and was responsible for administering both the military and commercial welfare of the state. Also, during one of his many sojourns in Venice, Casanova was responsible for a number of silly pranks, which including digging up a corpse and pretending to reanimate it in order to scare somebody he didn't like. And because of that, he actually found himself locked here for over a year. And we'll see that in just a second, the cell where they kept him. But this is a place where a lot of people went not of their own will. These are the Pozzi prison cells, where, during the late medieval era, political prisoners were kept. Very humid in here.
Step right there.
Oops. Be careful.
Here's a fully furnished one.
New bedroom aesthetic discovered. Hard to get through these. And the special solitary confinement cell. Peaceful and quiet. So these are the offices of the Chancery, where Venice was essentially administered from. I wish I had a desk like that. And the most important part of the palace of all, the empty water cooler. Tilted self-closing door and stained glass. That must have made the lighting really interesting when it was closed. Look, a stringer upper device. That's the cell where they kept Casanova. There's his favorite chair still there. And there's the ceiling he dug through to get out. It's incredible. Trust me, if you've read the book, this is an awesome place to see. And here's the cell where they kept the priest who actually dug the hole. And here is a room of the tribunal. Look at that ceiling. Beautiful. So that was where the, Republic was run out of. These are the public-facing parts of the building. The tour guide did make a note that if you look at pictures of the Doge,
the old figure right there, and again right there.
He's always kneeling to indicate that he's a servant rather than a king.
Of the Republic. There he is again, kneeling.
Do I get to be Doge now?
No.
Okay.
And here's the Hall of the Senate, where the Venetian Senate met to make the rules for Venice. This is where the real power was exercised for much of the city's history. And here's the Hall of the Council of Ten, which, if I remember correctly, and I may not, were basically the inquisitors, in the sense that they were responsible for making sure the citizens were doing good citizen things. And here's the sword gallery. Here's the armor of King Henry IV. Short king, literally. Meat tenderizers. How do I get distended abs like that? What did you say this was? Texas?
This is the Texas section.
The Texas section. Finally a cheese spreader I can get behind. This room was restored in the 18th century, hence all of the late Renaissance painting. But this was discovered behind the walls from the 14th century. It's an old faded painting of St. Mark's Basilica. And here is a truly colossal fresco from 1365 that originally was housed in the Great Council Chamber. Look at that thing. You can see that it's been severely damaged, but there's still little bits of it left. And here's La Sala del Maggior Consiglio, the Great Council House. This is where the council of all the patrician citizens of Venice took place, which was, at least theoretically, the source of Republican power in Venice. Though if I remember correctly, that was to a great extent usurped later on by the Senate. Look at the size of this building and the size of the paintings on the roof. Incredible. You know, it feels just a little bit vain to be sitting in a building which has a painting of the building in it. Like, we get it. It's cool. Naval battles were something else back in the day. Casual Bosch painting. The looming of the sphere. And now we cross the Bridge of Sighs, which leads to the prisons where most civil prisoners were kept. Look at this grill work. They really loved these interwoven bars. Good luck bending that.
Well, I mean, I could do it, but like, good luck to the rest of you.
This is a lot of prison. Toward the end, Venice seemed to really like prison. Back across the Bridge of Sighs. Well, this was a neat place. Got to see a lot of history, a lot of artifacts.
Now we are going to go back to the hotel, relax, and then go to the gym because it's time for that.
Okay, one more aside. These two columns looming here over the lagoon are the columns of San Marco and San Teodoro. They were actually brought here from parts unknown, presumably the Byzantine Empire, long ago, and erected in the 1100s. Venetians still have a superstition that whatever you do, you shouldn't walk between them.
Say cheese.
I can't see anything. I see a black screen.
Time jump. We are now standing outside Enoteco Volto, which was delicious. We had all sorts of food. Not pasta for once. Oh my god, my face is so dark. And we're about to have a mac and gemma style dessert, which is just more standard savory food. We've got some mozzarella sticks basically and fried olives, and it's gonna be delicious. So yeah, today's been fun. I doubt we'll have much more to say. Tomorrow we're gonna head to Murano and Burano and all sorts of little kind of off islands. So until then, good night.